Hey everyone, it's Wednesday and I actually wasn't maybe going to do this one today, kind of wait till tomorrow, but I thought no, I'll do it this evening and hopefully people will get on and watch. So I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. It was actually a beautiful day. I know some of you that watch are not from around here. Some of you are, but we had a gorgeous day in Michigan, like 90-ish. And we had some people over by the pool, and it was an amazing day. It was an absolutely amazing day. So, hey Sharni, I think I saw Jay too. I'm sorry, you guys. It's hard sometimes for me to see this. Hey Sherry, how are you guys? So today I'm going to make this one brief. And what I have been doing for the past 6 or 7 weeks, I've kind of lost track now, is I am on here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I am giving hope and encouragement to those who struggle with fear, anxiety, and panic attacks, something that I struggled and suffered with for 25 years, from the time I was about 11 until my mid to later 30s, and I've been free now for 20 years. So that's what I've been doing. I feel like that's kind of the voice that God wants me to put out there right now in the airwaves, and I'm so grateful for those of you who have listened and shared and liked and commented. So many people need this. There is millions of people that struggle and suffer with this, but however, you still feel very alone while you're going through this, and I totally get it. So if it's you that's struggling, if it's somebody that you know, somebody that you love, go back, watch the other videos that I did. Again, you can go 6 weeks back on my wall, and, you can see some of the topics, some of the headings, some of them might speak to you, but certainly let people know who need to have some hope and some encouragement, because, man, you can break free. You can break free from this. Honestly. So today what I wanted to talk about really, really briefly was, I don't know if any of you, I have the Bible app on my phone, and it's called YouVersion, okay? And there's always a verse of the day, right? And today's verse was, excuse me, 2 Timothy 1:7, which says, and it's so appropriate that this was today's verse, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And ironically, but probably not so ironically, this is the verse that I chose. It's the foundational verse for my program, for my website, which is reclaimingpeace.com. You can check it out and scroll through. You can see my story and all kinds of stuff on there. But that's the foundational verse that I have. And part of the reason is, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, okay? So what does that tell us? First of all, it tells us that if you're in fear and you're living in fear and you're living in anxiety and you're living with panic attacks, just like I did, it's not from God. It's not from God. And God gets no pleasure out of seeing you live like this. And I guess I didn't think maybe that he had pleasure in it, but I didn't know what to think when I was going through this, especially how young I was. So I came to think that this is God, that this is just how I have to live. Why is he doing this to me? What's he going to do next? Why does he want me to live like this? I don't get it. Maybe there's some of you who feel that way at some time. Why? Why isn't he making me well? Why isn't he just taking this from me? I've prayed and I've prayed and I've, Well, first off, we know again, number one, God has not given it to you. God is not the author of bad things. God is not the author of fear. Why would he say fear not continuously through the Bible? If he was the author of fear, he's not going to go, I'm going to put fear on you, but don't fear. I'm going to put fear on you, but now don't fear. That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. So God has not given you that spirit of fear. We forget sometimes that we live in a natural world, but we live in supernatural circumstances, and there's spirits that get in. I know it sounds weird and I don't mean it to be, but they get into your mind, because there's God obviously that wants you well, and that again takes no pleasure in you living like this, but there's an enemy of your soul that's like, I want you to live in fear. I don't want you to fulfill what God wants you to do. I don't want you to be able to do this or this. I want you to live in fear, right? So it's kind of that war, and it's that spirit that gets in, right? And what do we have to do? We have to pluck that out at the root. And once you do, then you have freedom. And no medication is going to do that for you. No amount of counseling is going to do that for you. I know some of you are going to disagree with some of the stuff that I say on here, okay? Medication might keep it at bay. It might keep it in check a little bit. It might, but it never gets to the root and plucks it out, man. And once it's done, then it's done. So again, let's read the rest of it. It's not giving us a spirit of fear, but one of power. When you're having fear, anxiety, panic attacks, you feel powerless, right? Powerless, seriously, overtaken by these things, right? It's not from God, okay? God wants to give you that spirit of power. He wants you to know that you've got that power in you, that power that can overcome fear, okay? So it says he's not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, one of love. Even the love thing gets kind of skewed when you're living day to day with fear, with anxiety, panic attacks. Even, does God really love me? I don't even know, because I have, I'm living like this. Even that gets a little bit muddled, okay? But God doesn't want that to happen either, right? And he also wants to give us a sound mind. And when you're living in fear, when you're living with that spirit of fear that gets in there, my goodness, you think you have anything but a sound mind. I don't know about you, but man, oh man, there were days I thought I was going crazy. Seriously, there were days I thought I was like going nuts, like scrape me off the floor, like my head's going to explode, with the thoughts that are coming in, with fear, with anxiety. Let me out of here. Sometimes, I got to run. I don't know where to go. I can't sleep. I can't you feel like you have anything but a sound mind. And I know, and I get it, but you're not going crazy. You're not gonna lose it, or lose control and things like that, right? No, it's not. That's not gonna happen, okay? It feels like it. I know, but it's not gonna happen. So God didn't give you that spirit of fear. That thing got in there, right? It got in there at some point in time. And it began to snowball because of the thoughts about it, because of the words that you began to say about it, and it becomes a vicious cycle of fear, anxiety, and panic attacks, right? I'm not going to go here because it's going to happen. I can't go there because it might happen there, right? And that isn't from God. I want you to understand that emphatically, and I'll go into that more in the weeks to come too. He's not giving you that. And again, I love this. I heard somebody say that one time, and God takes no pleasure in it. What about depression, Sharni? It's it's not the same as an anxiety and panic attack. Definitely not. And I struggle with that too. You can't struggle with fear and anxiety and things without having that enter in too. What's said is kind of fear and anxiety is always thinking about like the future. Like you're always worried about what if, right? You're always worried about what if that happens? What if I go here? What if? So it's kind of, future oriented, where they say depression is more like past oriented, kind of dwelling on things that, in the past or whatever, and beginning to have that down countenance, just that hopeless feeling. That's really, I think, what depression gives, is just that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of again, I know anxiety thinks about the future, like what if, but depression, when I would get depressed or be depressed, I would look at the future and go, I can't even think about that. Like I don't even, like I can't even think of anything good. Like it just, it's hard to explain. Like you just, like I would look at the future and go, and have no hope for it. I'd think ahead to like where I am now. Okay, like when I was like in my early 30s, and I'd think ahead and I'd think, God, what's my life going to be like then? If I'm still like this, if I'm still like, there's like no hope for it, right? But it's, I'm gonna go into it. But you could say the same sort of thing about this, Sharni, as you could about depression. And quite honestly, the next time I'll go into that a little bit more. I'll go into the depression part of it a little bit more, and bring something out where that's concerned as well. Because basically it's kind of the same thing that's going to get you out of both, and it's the same thing that keeps you stuck in both fear, anxiety, and depression. And believe it or not, it's your thoughts and it's your words. Your thoughts and your words. Your thoughts and your words. So powerful, so amazingly powerful. And there's such a connection between your thoughts and your brain and what goes on in your physical body. Such a huge connection with that. So I'll go into that more as the weeks go on. And like I said, next time Friday, I'll kind of veer into the depression part of it a bit more too. But know that it has not given to you by God. He's not somebody who sits up in the heavens and says, oh, depression here, oh, anxiety and fear there. No, he's a loving God. And I love this, and this is going to be the third time I've said it, I think, through this thing tonight. But I love when I heard a message where the person said God gets no pleasure out of really anything that the enemy is going to throw at you, whether it's sickness, diseases, depression, fear, anxiety, panic attacks, addictions, let's say alcohol, that God gets no pleasure in watching his children suffer with any of that stuff. Period. End of story. So you've got to get that. You've got to understand that deep in your spirit, because it's really hard if you're praying, if you're trying to pray and think, it's really hard to pray to a God that you think might have brought it on you or wants to keep these things on you. But that's not the way our God works. That's not the way he works. He wants you to have just exactly what this verse says at the end. He wants you to be full of power, full of love, and of a sound mind. That's what he wants, and you can have that. You absolutely, positively can. It's absolutely within your reach. It's closer than you think, honestly. And again, as the weeks go on, I'm going to keep going with this. So again, I am so grateful for those of you who share these videos, who like these videos, who tell people about these videos. Again, you can go back and listen to the other ones. This is either week 6 or 7 that I've been doing this. And it's so cool because I've had many people that have come up to me, like in the town that I live in. I know not all of you that listen live here, but some do. And they'll come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I listen to your videos every time. I've listened, or I've and I don't even realize it, and it's such a blessing to me because I'm very passionate about this subject, and God's allowed me to take something that was so bad and so hellish and turn it around and bring me freedom. And now that's what I want to do is help bring freedom to so many of those that need this. And on this day, right, Independence Day, freedom. And when you are in fear, when you're in anxiety, when you're depressed and things, you feel anything but free. That's bondage. That's bondage. That's keeping you in bondage to fear and depression and things. And God doesn't want that. I don't want that. That's not the way you were meant to live, and that's not the way that you have to live. All right. So anyway, I'll see you guys back here on Friday. Have an amazing rest of your 4th of July. And hey, Sue and Heidi, how are you? And again, go back, watch some of these other ones. Go to my website, check it out, reclaimingpeace.com. Oh, thank you, Sharni. Thank you. I just I appreciate your kind words, but never ever would I have thought this would have happened? If you would have told me this 30 years ago or whatever, that this is what's going to happen at some point, that you're going to be helping people with this, I would have thought you were crazy. Would have thought you were crazy, but never know what God's got up his sleeve, right? So anyways, have a great night. See you back, and keep the hope alive.